Bob Mathis pulling that sax, Jerry on the drums, Fred on the bass, Lynn Willard on the blues and dog for a great job. And good morning, Seaside. Hey, what a joy it is to be with you on this fabulous summer day in January. And it is truly a joy to be part of a spiritual community that is alive and growing and dynamic. And so one of the things that is exciting that is going on is what's happening in our teen group. And some of our teens just got back from camp. Actually, they were hanging out at moonlight together by a bonfire playing music. But why don't you come on up, share about the camp. Jaden? Jonah? Go. Come on to the center stage. Hey guys, how'd it go? Camp?
Camp was really fun. We went up to this beautiful place up in the mountains of Malibu. It was like when you picture like a camp associated with a religion, you don't get the image of being able to see just intense beauty everywhere. I don't know, I got this image of some forested area, but no, seriously, like we were on this little peninsula up on a mountain, and you could see a 360-degree view of the ocean. It was really beautiful. Yeah.
All right.
Camp for me was great. We had people from here, Seaside, all the way to people from Africa who came by. Just everybody liked to get away to get in touch with God and spirit, and just to get away from all the hassle that life can bring. And I just really wanted to thank you guys, because it's because of you guys, all the donators, who actually made it possible for me and some of the teens to actually go to camp. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. How fun. We got a great teen group. I see Rima and Attila. Heard it was pretty fun out at Moonlight. Not that anybody's sharing any details with me last night. Our teens, music, bonfire. We have a great teen group. So if you have anyone who's near and dear to your heart in that age range, it's just a fun, growing expression. Hey, welcome back from Australia and that part of the world. I mean, Bali, and I want to hear stories of what's down there. But anyway, hey, this morning we got a great message going on here, and what I want to do is put a person out here. We hold the light at every service. There's someone who's just dedicated, or a spiritual practitioner, to be there as a conduit for God to express. And holding the light today is the wonderful Gail Manister, a wonderful spiritual practitioner, master practitioner of Seaside. She prays and prays and prays, and so know that there's a lot of good going on at this service, a lot of voice, a lot of music, but there's also a lot of prayer, and she's just dedicated to sit in our prayer corner and pray throughout the service. But I've also been told that singing is like praying twice, and so why don't we all stand together and sing a wonderful song. Rebecca will tell us what that song is.
Good morning, Seaside. We're going to do a song for you. Not sure if you're familiar with it. It's called I Love Myself So Much. If you haven't heard it before, check it out and then sing it along with me, okay? I just love the message in this song. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Sing with me, everyone. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Sing. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Bob, why don't you play for us? them. Say, I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Look to your next neighbor, the other side. I love myself so much, oh yeah, that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much. Here we go. That you can start loving me. Very nice job, everyone.
And that's Rebecca Jade leading us in a new one about I love you so much. I'm looking at these flowers. We are loved so much for sure. Bruce Wilkinson, who was at the first service, gave it. His dad was here with them, and they gave it in honor of his mom, in memory of his mom. The other wonderful flowers, looking at Elizabeth and Jim, and just an absolute wonderful memory of that empty seat right next to you. Bless your heart, George Burmeister. Gosh, we miss him so, and I know service is February 8th, and so we just hold him near and dear in our heart, and the beauty is so like George, for sure. And you know, I was going to do this at the end of the service, but I want to share with you something. Today's the annual meeting day at 1 o'clock. Stick around. We'll fill you in on all the details of Seaside. A wonderful lunch for sure before. But one of the things we do is we share who the Volunteer of the Year award goes to. And it's usually like 2 or 3 individuals. And it's kind of a surprise because we never tell anybody who's the recipient of it. And it's not just a year, it's really a lot of years of a lot of service. Someone who was at the first service, Randy Foyd, who does every one of these programs that you have for years and years. You've never seen her face, but you're touched by her every week, and it's gone on for years. Also, I don't see around here, she's at the end of the service, is Melissa Spiegler. Yeah, so I mean, we watched her all the time up here. But the third one we picked is an individual who's been on almost, not every committee, but committee, writing newsletters, planning. And Elizabeth, I want you to know we're putting George Burmeister's name on Volunteer of the Year here at Seaside for the wonderful gift he has been for us for so long and so much. So thank you for that. And now to just take us a little bit deeper is a wonderful practitioner, Bob Greer. Pray for us. Or with us.
Whichever. So just joining in this moment, invite you into the silence. So just opening and embracing the truth that there is one mind, one life, one God. And that God is in and through all living things and is right here, right now in this room. Knowing that that power and presence is in each and every individual that is here today and all of those in our lives. Knowing that whenever I look at you, I see the face of God reflecting back. So knowing that this day is divinely guided and blessed, so grateful for all the people that make this service possible, who create this space where we can all come together and join in this special time together. So grateful for Dr. Christian's message that resonates and guides and helps us to an even greater and greater understanding of how this works. So grateful for all of this and more. I just simply say, and So it is.
God is real. God is magnificent. God is light. God is love. I am real. I am magnificent. I am light. I am love. We are real. We are magnificent. We are light. We are love.
Thank you, Rebecca Jade, for that call to worship. Also, thank you, Bob Breer, for grounding us in spirit. Good afternoon, Seaside. My name is Reverend Lori McMacken, and I am blessed to be here today. Seaside Center for Spiritual Living is a community of like-minded people where we come together as one on Sunday to celebrate life and joy, to listen to Reverend Christian's message as he guides us and directs us in an inspirational way to know more of God in our life. And if you are a visitor, I would like to welcome you. And may I say that you are home. We would love for you to join our spiritual family. There's actually a welcome packet outside. I will invite you to go out there and get one after the service. And in that packet, do not leave until you open that packet because there's many treats in there. You can go into the bookstore and get a free CD of today's service, also a coffee and a muffin, and 10% off in the bookstore. And I'm sure everyone would love to meet you here. I am very blessed because on Wednesdays we have a new Wednesday night service. It's called Going Within. And I am co-hosting this with Reverend Debbie McDonald and myself. So on Wednesdays, the first and the third Wednesday of the month, Reverend Debbie McDonald is practicing the principles, and myself, Reverend Lori McMacken, I will be doing practicing the presence on the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month. Now this Wednesday, I have a beautiful service all planned just for you. Beautiful candle lighting, I have a harpist, I have a guitarist, and a violin. It is a indulgent of the sacred space. And I'll be planting the seeds of freedom in your life, bringing your attention to your intention. As you make new intentions in your life for 2015, allowing yourself just to gently walk in to your greatness. So this month we are going back to the basics, and the reading that I have is How to Use It. Reverend Christian is going to tell us how it works and how to use it today. The founder of religious science, Dr. Ernest Holmes, he demonstrates to us how to use this teaching. And by the power of the word, we can demonstrate that speaking that clearly and declaring it in our lives. As I speak these words of Dr. Ernest Holmes, I invite you to close your eyes and to open your heart and just allow these words to resonate in your life. I am a center in the divine mind, a point of God-conscious life, truth, and action. My affairs are divinely guided and guarded into right action, into correct results. Everything I do, say, or think is stimulated by the truth. There is power in this word that I speak because it is of truth, and it is the truth. There is perfect, continuous right action in my life and my affairs. All belief in wrong action is dispelled and made negative. Right action alone has power. Right action is power, and power is God, the living Spirit Almighty. The Spirit animates everything that I do, say, or think. Ideas come to me daily, and these ideas are divine ideas. They direct me and sustain me without effort. I'm continuously directed. I'm compelled to do the right thing at the right time, to say the right word at the right time, and to follow the right course at all times. All sluggishness of age and poverty, limitation, or unhappiness is uprooted from my mind and cannot gain entrance into my thought. I am happy, well, and filled with perfect light. I live in the spirit of truth and am conscious that the spirit of truth lives with me. There is no unbelief, no doubt, no uncertainty. I know that I know that I know. Let every thought of doubt vanish from my mind, that I may know the truth, and the truth shall set me free. For I am free, and I invite you to stay with me in this light, as I know the truth shall set me free. For I am the truth, I am the light, I am the way. I am that essence of divine spirit, and I recognize that wholeness of life. I recognize that creative, universal expression of life that expresses itself everywhere in its fullest. It is the power back of all things, and I know that I am one with the life of God. For all that God is, I am. It lives, it moves, it has its being in my life. As I know this for myself, I know it flows through each and every person here. For each person is expression of wholeness. Each person is that divine idea in the mind of God. Each person is individualized. And what I know is that the truth shall set you free. It is the essence of the truth that guides you and directs you. It's allowing God to go forward and making all crooked paths straight. For I know each person is the light of God in action. As I release my word into the lawful word of mind, and so it is.
Well, good morning. It is my honor to introduce our guest artist for today. He is local, which I think is so cool. And he's been here with us before. It's been a while, but we're so glad that he's back. And he has music in the bookstore if you are moved by his music today. So without further ado, let's please give a nice welcome to James Higgins.
Thank you. Good morning, Seaside. Well, when I got up this morning, I was feeling spirit. Were you feeling spirit this morning? When I woke up this morning, I had my mind. I was feeling spirit. Well, I woke up this morning with my mind set on spirit. I woke up this morning. I said I woke up this morning with my mind on spirit. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I just had to say hallelujah. This morning with my mind set on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind set on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind set on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Say, I'm walking and talking with my mind set on spirit. I'm walking and talking with my mind set on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind set on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Say, living and loving with my mind set on spirit. Set on spirit, living and loving with my mind. Set on spirit, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Tell them about it, Bob. Are you guys alive out there this morning? All right, now we're gonna take them home. Here we go. Hey, walking and talking with my mind. Sing it. Sad on spirit. Hey, I'm walking and talking with my mind. I'm sad on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind. I'm sad on spirit. Hallelujah. 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 Now this is my favorite one because this is what I like to do. Say, I'm moving and grooving with my mind. Sad on spirit. Yes, I'm moving and grooving with my mind. I said I'm sad on spirit. Yeah, moving and grooving with my mind. I'm sad on spirit. Hallelujah. 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 Yeah. Hallelujah. Woo. Good morning, Seaside.
That is James Higgins. Woo! I like that. I am moving and grooving with spirit. That could be my favorite one of that, too. James Higgins, welcome back to Seaside. We missed you. Way to rock us out. Woo! Okay, so what am I? Where am I? Here I am. Okay, part 2 of Back to the Basics. I know this stuff. Oh, boy. It's in the first pages of the Science of Mind, which has come to be known as our textbook. And so the chapters I'm talking from are the ones that Reverend Lori Mack shared with you. And she said they were what it does and how to use it. And that's absolutely correct. And so from the very first page of that chapter, I share with you where Ernest writes. So it's true that we are immersed in infinite intelligence. It's a mind that knows all things. And it's also true that this intelligence can acquaint us with things, with ideas, but only are in the degree that we are able and willing to receive them. The divine mind is infinite. It contains all knowledge and all wisdom, but before it can reveal its secrets, it must have an outlet. This outlet we shall be compelled to supply through our own receptive mentalities. Perhaps the simplest way to state the proposition is to say that we are surrounded by a mind or intelligence that knows everything, and the potential knowledge of all things exists in this mind. But what we draw from it, we must draw through the channel of our own mind. Spirit can give us only what we can take. It can part of itself only as much as we can partake of its nature. So you got that? It's big, it's infinite, it's all-knowing, it's wise, it's like the full deal. And we're part of that. At least that's what Ernest is telling us. And what it does, it must do through us. That's the key right there. What it does, it must do through us. It's infinite. And so this morning, I'm going to try to talk about some big things that are going on this planet. To help stretch our mind to realize that as big as we can think, that is how much we can begin to experience within our life. And why would we want to experience more abundance in our life? Well, it's pretty simple. Because we desire to experience a greater quality of life. Pretty simple. Doesn't sound like greed or anything. The reason to experience abundance, greater wealth, is so that we can experience a greater quality of life. What does that greater quality of life look like? It may look like bringing down one of these grand ideas from the mountaintop. It may look like being able to be philanthropic and share where your heart desires, be able to give at the level in which you desire to give, or really to make a difference upon this planet. You know, it's being able to experience greater quality of health, at least as long as you're here, to have a body that is working with an ease and a grace. You know, that is what is, but you've got to recognize what I've got going on in my world right now. I've got to be grateful for this. That is enough. And from this place of enough, I can begin to experience more. As the vision expands and I live in a consciousness of enough, and whatever that vision is, I will know through experience that there is enough for it. Pretty simple the way that correlates. There's an interesting story, a couple authors, Kurt Vonnegut, who wrote Slaughterhouse-Five and Cat and Cradle, and Joe Heller, the one who wrote Catch-22. They were talking, they were at a party, and Kurt said to Joe, you know, our host, he made $1 billion today. I mean, that's more money than you'll make from all the books you ever sell. And Joe said, but I have one thing he'll never have. Oh yeah, what's that? He said, I have enough. Yeah. And so to be able to recognize that creation really comes from like changing a state of consciousness is so important. When I work with individuals and they're down and their life's not working, the first thing I want to do is change the state of consciousness. You know, if your life's just miserable, you go around, nothing looks pretty. Have you noticed that? If you're like experiencing hell, life is not beautiful anywhere around you. You know, if you're angry at a particular person and every thought you think about them, doesn't it just irritate you about them? And you see them and everything they do just really bugs you? That's called a state of consciousness. But you know, remember what it's like to be in love? You know, when all of a sudden everything is beautiful. You know, every thought you have is just, it's wonderful. Those are states of consciousness. You change your state of consciousness, you get excited about your day, all of a sudden you hit that flow where things start working, right? Have you ever just been in the flow where you've got a sense of confidence, like, ta-da! You strike the pose, man. You're a super person, wonder guy. You know, it's just, it is a state of consciousness that is making a difference in your life and in your world, which, because as you perceive life, it comes through your perception. I mean, I take a look at like the Olympics when they run the track, and you watch these guys line up on like the 400 meter, they're staggered. It's like the guy in the back is 6 meters behind the guy in front of him who's 6 feet. It's like the guy's he's halfway around the track, and it's like, how can he not win? Now, intellectually, we all know they're paced just right, so as they go around the turns, they run the same amount. I know that intellectually, but I'll tell you, if I was the guy in the front, I'd be feeling pretty good. You know, maybe just slightly slack off just a little bit, because look at this lead I got, just subjectively. But you know, those races are won by 1/100 of a second. Or what about the guy who's way in the back? Might be thinking, I got to try a little bit harder. I'm the underdog. And just, who knows? But what I recognize, it's a state of consciousness that we find ourselves in. And so if you are trapped by a belief or a situation, to change a belief, what I found the best thing to do is just change your whole belief system around that. And Ernest Holmes is talking about change your thinking, change your life, change your belief that I'm not far behind, but rather, you know what, we all start off, it doesn't matter where we start off in life. You can be starting off way behind on the track or way out in front. It doesn't matter. You have been given the equal amount of spirit, and according to Ernest that we're reading, it's infinite, it's inexhaustible, it is all of it. It is a wisdom, it is intelligence, it is divine, it's everything you could ever have. You have enough right now in your life, but you've got to know that. Marianne Williamson, we've heard her, right? She said, the key to abundance is meeting limited situations with unlimited thoughts. Pretty simple. You got a limiting situation. I am immersed, according to Ernest, in the infinite. Okay, show me. Now, there was this young lady who actually become just one of our cultural stories of modern day success. She is the youngest woman to ever be a self-made billionaire. She used to work at Walt Disney World, and she had a party to go to one night. Sarah Blakely, you may know her story. She had a party to go to. She had a nice fitted pair of white pants and didn't have the appropriate underwear to go underneath them. You know, so rather than going commando, she came up with the concept, armed with just a pair of scissors and some sash. She cut off the legs off the tight-fitting pantyhose she had, and voila. She invented a whole new industry. She didn't just disrupt an industry, she invented a whole new industry. Now, she'll tell you it didn't come around really quick, but what she shared in an interview is that her dad taught her that it was good to fail. Like every night at the dinner table, say, where did you fail? Because where you failed means you learned something. You know, you had an experience. You had a result. If you don't try something, you don't fail. You don't have anything to go on. And so she says that she grew up because she got no 1,000 times around this idea of this new body-shaping kind of clothes for women that she just continued on to the point where she decided she was going to do it herself. And she was working as a clerk in an office somewhere, and she took her only money she had. She had $5,000 saved and she invested it herself. And she needed $3,000 to get a patent. She didn't have that, so she got a book. She filed her own patent. And somehow this business she created called Spanx went off to become a global phenomenon. I guess women are cultish once they start wearing that somehow instantly it takes off a couple inches that, wow. And it has turned into a $1 billion industry. You even got it for guys. And seems painful to think about, but but what is amazing about this is that she has no debt. She funded the whole thing. She has no outside investors. She owns a business that's worth over $1 billion solely on her own. She had an idea. So you don't need to have a whole capital market behind you to bring forth an idea whose time has come. You go to the mountaintop, you catch this vision, then it's up to you to deliver it. I mean, how many people had visions and haven't followed through? You don't have to raise your hand, but But interesting story around Edmund Hillary, the first guy to scale Mount Everest. We've heard about him. 1954, he came back down. The Queen was enamored, knighted him. He became Sir Edmund Hillary. But what's interesting about that story is that there is the belief that he was not the first man to summit Mount Everest. That George Malloy actually did in 1924. But like so many others, he never made it back. It's important to close the deal. It's important once you've been to the mountaintop is to get back here with what it is that you have seen, what you're stirring, that you have been charged with. If you got this grand idea, what are you going to do with that? See, Spirit is moving you forward. As you know, I've been reading Tony Robbins' new book. First book he's written in 20 years. It's called Money, Mastering the Game, the 7 Simple Principles, how to do it. We ran out of books already. They got a dozen more for today. It tells you how to create the wealth in your life and shares a lot of principles. One of the things he shared, because he interviewed 50 billionaires on the planet, kind of like a Napoleon Hill's approach to his book. And he said the common denominator of all the people he interviewed, and I mean that, like people who ran trillion-dollar hedge funds for Chase and is that they have a bigger question. They have a bigger question than most people have. You know, it says, ask and you shall receive. Well, what is it you're asking for? What kind of questions are you looking to be answered? He said Bill Gates' question wasn't, how can I have the best software? He had a bigger question. He said, how can I control the whole operating system of every computer out there? Now, that's a pretty big question if you ask me, you know. And even to this day, the personal computers, almost 90% are still controlled by the Microsoft and the operating system that goes there. But as he was focused on the inside of the computer, he was not focused on what's going on in the world. And the boys from Google, was it Larry Page and Sergey Brin? These guys, their question was, how can we organize all the information of the world and make it accessible and usable to everybody? These questions are huge. They're big. But all of a sudden you start thinking, and what Ernest Holmes was telling us is a possibility that is infinite. You start moving outside of what has been done before. The questions I listen to people ask, how can I make it? Excuse me? There's a big difference between how can I make it and how can I deliver all the information that the planet has. Yeah. There's a big difference. How can I lose a few pounds? Spanx. The answer is now available. How do you expand your question? There's this little kid. I was little, but he grew up in southwestern Colorado. There's really nothing for a boy to do around there, outside play, I guess. But he used gadgets. He liked taking things apart, putting them back together. By the age 14, he decided he wanted to create an artificial hand. So So what do? You go on the internet, right? And thanks to the Google guys for that, because all the information, and he started researching and figuring out how to make the fingers move, and only with like Legos, his Nintendo glove, fishing line, and some like toys, I guess, with the Rector set motors and things, he created a glove. And then by the age of 16, what he did is he took the prototype and he got himself a 3D printer. And these 3D printers, I don't know if you know what they do, but you put in material, liquid or powder, whether it's plastics or cement or colors or whatever, and they make gold bracelets, jeans, shoes, whatever the image. It's like a little factory that you put in the programming, and it produced one of these gloves that moved all the fingers. He took it to the state science fair, and he said that's where he had his aha moment. He met a 7-year-old girl who had an artificial arm, a prosthesis, that cost her $80,000. It cost her mom and dad $80,000. And this kid, Easton LaChapelle is his name, figured out she'll have to have at least 3. When she's a little bigger, she's got to have one. When she's adult, that's like $250,000. That's just not right. So he went home from there, in his bedroom laboratory, he began tinkering with what it is he had. He used that glove. He used the prototypes. He even figured out the EEG from the brain through the Bluetooth that could move it with one's thoughts. And he figured it's got to be better than just the one she has for $80,000 that only has 1 digit. This one has 5 that move. It's made with plastic. It's 1/3 the weight. It's a lot stronger. It can curl 300 pounds. Hers costs $80,000, and he now produced one on his 3D machine for, how much more do you think? Or less, half less, 20,000. 10,000. I saw it yesterday on the cover of Marker magazine at Barnes & Noble. He's created this artificial limb that's not just 1 digit. All fingers are moving for $250. That is what is possible. It's going on right now. This isn't sci-fi stuff. I mean, it may have been, but it isn't any longer. That kind of stuff is going on. You want to hear another one? Okay. These stories are coming from Tony Robbins' book, so I got a lot of them, but I'll back off after this. But I mean, it's just amazing to me because there's somebody in America getting horribly burned every 10 minutes, being rushed to a medical center, and they scrub off the blisters and the burnt skin, and they cover the open skin with the skin of cadavers, and then if you don't die, then it's years of surgery and grafts. It's a tough, one of the most painful things the human body could go through. State trooper, 40-year-old by the name of Matt Uram, and out on the bonfire with whoever the guys he was with, somebody threw into the bonfire a cup of gasoline, burned the right side of his body, his arm, his face, his head, rushed off to the emergency room in Philadelphia. I mean, you can see the story on YouTube. He rushed off in there. The nurses, they scrubbed him up and put the salve on. But instead of spending weeks and months going through that twice a day in the burn center, what they did is a new procedure. The specialist came in, they took cells from his skin, not a cadaver skin, from his own skin that had not been burned, cultured them, shook them up, do whatever they do, and they sprayed new skin back onto his burns, and in 3 days he was healed without the scarring. And you can see this on YouTube. These kind of things are going on right now. It's still in the experimental stage in America, but it's going on in Europe and Australia right now. These are the kind of things, and I share these stories because we're dealing with an infinite mind, and there's people that talk about our planet and the dire state it's in, whether it is with the dead or with the planet, but they talk about the growth that's taking place is exponential. And so the way in which things used to be done, and the growth is like this, but it begins to take these quantum leaps as it moves forward. Exponential example is our population took 200,000 years for us to have a billion people on this planet, and that was in the 1800s. And then in the next 200 years, we've got over 7 billion people. That's exponential growth. Exponential growth is 10 years ago, a computer, there are 500 million people online. 10 years later, or now would be 10 years later, right? There are 2 billion people on the internet. And the experts are saying in 6 years there will be another 3 billion or 5 billion. That is exponential growth. Exponential growth is what is going on in the technology, and exponential growth is what is going on in the spiritual realm also, is that we begin to recognize that, you know what, the body is able to respond to consciousness. You know what, my world is able to respond to consciousness. And what had slow motion all of a sudden is going to be able to be reached in a new kind of way. And now people will be happy, and some people are going to be sad about that. But you know what? There is no going back to how it was. As much as I would like to live in the West and the outdoors and the outhouses and fireplaces and things, there isn't going back to that. We are moving forward, and it is important that we begin to move with it. Exponential is like you have a huge orange tree. This is an example Peter Diamandis shares in his book of abundance, that you have a huge orange tree and you pick all the oranges off the bottom and the tree's loaded, but you can't get to any others. That's all you get. But then somebody invents a ladder and gives you access to all the other. That's exponential. That is what is going on in the world in which we live right now. It's not some futuristic kind of thing. There are things, these 3D printers. A kid in his bedroom can create an artificial limb out of a 3D printer now. Or you can go to China that has them in warehouses, and they're creating housing in them. They pour in cement and out comes a house. These things are happening, and yet we can stick in a place and say, you know what, I don't like it. Well, you may not like it, but what can I do to retool? What can I do to be current with what is going on? Because this is what will assist the planet. This is what will help humanity feed itself. This is the answers to prayer that is coming through the human expression. Yes, there will be people who misuse it, but you know what? There is good going on. You can fear it, or the state of consciousness and said, hey, I'm not going to get messed up with this perception of the fear, folks, and begin to embrace the good that is coming forth here. The choice is yours. People have been to that mountaintop and have brought back possibilities for us. You know what? You get to decide, am I going to be excited about, on the news, you guys, cars, you got automated cars that are driving themselves now. They're supposed to be on the road by next year. They're passing laws on what they can do and can't do. You know, that it's amazing. Not that I'm ever getting in one. Yeah, I'm sure I'll be eating that someday. Chauffeur-driven Seaside on Sunday mornings without a chauffeur. But you know who's all over that? Why it will happen? The funding is coming from manufacturers who have to employ truckers to deliver their goods. If all of a sudden you have automated trucks, you just have to buy your truck, which you always had to buy anyway, but you don't have to pay a salary anymore to a trucker who can only work 8 or 10-hour shifts. This thing works 24/7. There are 3.5 million truckers. That's a very sad thing. But always there is the progression. And you can stick with your state of mind, isn't this horrible? Or you can say, you know what, I need to retool. Things are moving forward, and it is a new age. Am I going to be current in what is happening upon our planet? Because it's not going to slow down. Or it hasn't thus far, unless some cataclysmic disaster wipes us out. So am I willing to move forward with what is emerging here and now? And what I come to recognize that it is not just simply a logistical shift in me, it's an attitudinal shift that has to take place within me to begin to embrace what is taking place, to be willing to learn and be current and present in the world that is happening and not give up my spirituality. And recognize that, Ernest Holmes was saying when he talks about treatment, which is our form of prayer, that it is a definite statement in a law that is responsive. So that comes back to what questions are you asking? Are you asking, how can I make it? How can I pay my bills? Or are you asking, how can I eradicate hunger from the planet? How can I eradicate sickness from this planet? Where are your questions? Because there is enough in this infinite realm to fulfill the vision that is stirring in your heart and soul. And just because you had a vision and you're talking about it, isn't that sweet? But you need to come back down from that mountain before you get anointed or served or whatever it is. You've got to come back from that high place. And when you see what's going on, it sometimes can hurt, like for those truckers or like the farmers we spoke about last week. But there's more than enough opportunities for individuals to engage in life in a new way while staying true and integrous to who you are and who you have always been and what your sole purpose is here. And sometimes what takes place will be painful. But pain is what breaks the shell that keeps you encased. It can be stressful. We've been taught that stress is bad. There's an interesting study that Kelly McLaughlin, Stanford health psychologist, came up with, or a study that she's been engaged in for a decade. She said that she used to teach that stress is bad, it's going to kill you early, and then she came to realize, or at least she began to think, maybe I'm responsible for killing more people early than they need be. And so she did this study with individuals that were overstressed within their life, and what she discovered is those that believe that stress is bad is going to kill them. You know, when your heart starts beating, you start breathing faster, you start sweating your palms, you know, that's what the body is doing. But the body under stress, like you do that for weights to get your muscles strong. You do that for running to get your muscles strong. Maybe your psyche, your soul, and your spirit does that to get stronger. And what she came to discover, those who thought it was bad are the ones who are 43% more likely to die early because of stress-related issues. And those who didn't think it was a bad thing, it was just our body's doing its thing and getting stronger, lived as long as anybody else. You get to decide. You know? But you don't need to go to a fancy university to get all this information anymore. It's on the internet. That's where I get it. You know, this kid, 14, he created these artificial limbs from the internet. Didn't need an MIT education or the Stanford education or the Harvard education. I mean, it's good to have those things, but the information is available, thank goodness, because of the Google boys that made it all available to us. There is this global brain, the noosphere, that is making available all the information. And so as you begin to open your mind to the infinite possibilities that you live in, what I've come to recognize is what this world really needs are individuals who specialize in the impossible. Individuals who specialize in knowing that that vision that they have been entrusted in is possible and that it can move through them, it can move through you, that you have been given everything, that there's enough in your life and your world to make your dreams come true, that you, as you begin to expand your vision, you have what it takes, whether it's creating $1 billion business with 0 investors, whether it's creating artificial life. This kid, I didn't even tell you, his motivation is he had a friend in school who got in an accident and was paralyzed from the waist down, and his goal was to create an light ectoplastic thing that will allow him to walk to receive his graduation diploma this summer. And they say he's on track to make it happen. You know, things are possible, and the science of mind is open at the top. It says you want to be so open that the new places are able to go in, and they do not displace your spirituality. They are compatible. They support it. One thing doesn't make the other one wrong. What you get to be is the integrator of the heaven and the earth. What you get to be is that conduit through which the infinite passes into form. You are the one who gets to recognize that you are running in Eden. It doesn't matter if you're starting on that back spot on that racetrack or in the front. You know what? We are given all the same to make it true and to cross that finish line in great glory and great love. And so what I know for you is that you truly are a specialist in the impossible. And I know whatever is in your heart and soul, you are capable of doing. I know that for you. And my dream is that you know that for yourself. God bless you as we do. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring James Higgins back to the stage. And this song he wrote, so listen.
God is all there is. You'll find peace within your heart. When God is all there is, you'll find peace within your heart. Surrender all of your doubt and your fears. Just let your mind be still. Fill your heart with grace and God's tender warm embrace. That's my prayer today, and so it is. When God is all there is, you'll find joy within your heart. When God is all there is, you'll find joy within your heart. Surrender all your doubt and your fear. Just let your mind be still. Just fill your heart with grace and God's tender warm embrace. That's my prayer today, and so it is. When God is all that there is, you'll find love within your heart. When God is all that there is, you will find love within your heart. Surrender all your doubt and your fears. Just let your mind be still. Just fill your heart with grace and feel God's tender warm embrace. I release this prayer today, and so it is. I release this prayer today, when you'll find peace and love and joy within your heart. Oh, when God is all there is. Oh, when God is gone, I know God is all there is. You'll find love and peace and joy within your heart. Oh, when God is all there is. When God is all there is. Thank you.
That is James Higgins. Thank you. Woo. That's beautiful. Nice job with that. Okay, well, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to unite together in the givingness and the sharing. We get to be that activity that God is having. We get to participate and express the level in which we're playing in life. And life reciprocates at that level. You give, it comes back. It's not why you do it. It's just that is the way it works. When there aren't strings attached or there is an expectation, you're just being in that flow. And honoring the Spirit in your life, Spirit will honor its expression as your life. So with that, I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward as we take that gift from our heart and our soul and our spirit. And thank you to those that mail in your contributions when you can't be here on a Sunday. It's greatly appreciated as well. Lots of thanks to those that remember us with the auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world into Seaside to support our regular ongoing responsibilities. And I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities with a full heart of appreciation, knowing that the blessings of the divine moves through this moment in time and space where we are living and moving within that infinite space. As Ernest Holmes talks about, it is infinite, it is inexhaustible, it is the wisdom, it is all-knowing, it is everything, and it shows up in our world at the level in which we're able to embrace it. It is the level in which we're able to embody that. It is the level in which we are able to walk this world and express that and be that, and it continues to manifest in our life. And so with a sense of grace and gratitude, we look at the good that has blessed our individual world, and we take that and send it back into life, knowing that it moves forth on those wonderful currents of love and joy and blessings, for that which enriched us continues to enrich all those that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment to pause and to remember the true source is truly infinite, and that we're each a conduit of its wonderful flow. And so it is. Amen. And together, let us say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. Guys from Seaside. As I stand before this bounty, I can feel the love. I can just feel that divine pulse of that heart of this spiritual community. For that wellspring of that infinite good moves through each and every one of us, for we are that divine conduit, that expression, that channel, that vortex, that avenue of that abundant flow into form. And so I know right now that as we continue to share and contribute, this wonderful expanding good here at Seaside is taken in with love and appreciation, handled in good stewardship, and it's put forth back into the world. So that joy and that blessing continue to bless all those that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment to pause and just to remember how blessed we are. And so it is. Amen. This is Helen Lipka, a wonderful board member of yours here at Seaside. been gracing us for more than 3 years at that board level. So thank you. My goodness, James Higgins, you are fabulous, wonderful, great spirit, great soul. Thank you very much. Rebecca Jade, always a blessing to grace our stage. And whew. Hey, Rebecca tonight is singing Ella Fitzgerald tribute right at our Encinitas Library at 7 o'clock. So right here, it'll be fabulous. And next Friday, of course, at Searsuckers over in Delmar Highlands at 8. But Reverend Laurie Mack, what do you do on Wednesday nights around here? But just fill the place with a lot of love and joy. Thank you for the wonderful service you're bringing us on Wednesdays and today, this morning. Thank you for being here. Laurie Mack. Giving us sound today is Ed. Giving us the visual is Marv. Know that CDs are available right after the service. We've been selling them out every week for the last month or more. So go back in there, and right next to Tony Robbins, you'll find Christian Sorensen. Kind of go. So anyway, Tim, thank you for sharing this with the world, live streaming this. People literally around the world are watching this and are being blessed by what is going on here. And one of the things that's going on here today is an annual meeting. We've got a great lunch after I'm done talking. You know, Sharon's put together a Thai lunch with coconut soup and curry, all vegetarian, gluten-free. So that's available. But 1 o'clock is our annual meeting. And one of the things that happens is there is an election of new board members. For every year, a couple go off, a couple go on, sometimes 3. And this year it's 3. And I would just like to call up to the stage so you can see the 3 individuals that have served this community for years so lovingly, and just give them some love. So Helen Lipka, would you come back up? She has served on this board for 3 years. We have Cindy Dietz. She is also stepping up. Why don't you come on up here on the stage? And Bill, why don't you just come on up and give us a chance to love you up and say bless you, and just thank you for being here and being part of this. And tell you what, this is the point where here we go. This is the point where we hand you the gavel, Bill, and just say thank you for your wonderful leadership as our board chair. Cindy, bless you for your wonderful 3 years of service, and the Gourmets for Gods and the revamping. And Helen, she's in counting. And but how do you like that timing with Reverend Tam? She's just right. Anything you want to say before you leave, like whatever.
We just love being of service, and it's been just a blast being here.
We're not going anywhere, so love you all.
Good. How fun. Thank you, guys. But we'll see you at the annual meeting, 1 o'clock right here. All right. Well, last Sunday of the month, you notice no announcements. It's no announcement Sunday. But it is our prayer wall Sunday. Last Sunday of the month, our spiritual practitioners make themselves available for prayer. So I want to invite any of our religious licensed practitioners that are here, just come stand up here and create this wonderful wall of consciousness, this chalice of love. And when I'm done praying and we're done singing, they are available to come up and receive a wonderful prayer. And they're the ones that take the prayer requests out every day and pray. Out of the prayer request chest, they're the ones that are available and praying for our community. And there's just a lot of good. These are our kids coming in. And Lori, it was great hearing from Jonah and Jaden about the teen camp. And just thank all of you for sending our kids. Like I said, they got together on their own at Moonlight, and Jonah was playing music, and then Cole was playing music. It was just a blessed night. Haven't heard the details yet, but I don't know if I ever will. But now's the time for prayer. And just listen to the sound of our children. Is that blessed? It's because we're family. We're family, and we have children. We have a growing, thriving youth and family program. It's that kind of love that hears that sound and just opens the heart even further. As I stand in the light here, I'm just filled with a gratitude for what this community is. It is a pillar, it is a light, it is a strength, it is a vortex of that divine emanation of the presence of God, of that intelligence, that wisdom, a reminder of the allness, that all things are possible. Whether it is creating an artificial hand or $1 billion business with no investors, it's all possible. Healing the body is the natural state. That is part of the exponential growth, is the realization of the DNA that is able to change with consciousness. For I know the blessings of Spirit is in this moment, that wisdom that guides the universe, same intelligence that moves at the heart of this community, guiding and directing us into our annual meeting today with a divine intelligence leading Seaside to its next level that rests on the shoulders, not just with one step, but exponentially lifted up to a whole new level for 2015. For each and every one of us, this next year brings with it a wonderful sense of excitement of the possibilities, knowing that with Spirit all things are possible. That as we read and heard today, that is truly infinite in its wisdom and its expression. It is open at the top with the possibilities of ideas that moves through into the form, that moves into your life. It is done unto you at the level in which you are able to embody and believe. What kind of questions are you asking? What kind of focus do you have? Are you looking to answers to just survive? Are you looking for answers to make a difference in this world in which you walk? It's all available. There is no large or small within the mind of God because it is all. And so as I stand in the allness, I speak these words of truth for each and every one of us to have an amazing life with expanding good in 2015, a life that is filled with health and vitality and a dynamic expression that brings fulfillment and success and the ability to let go of the stress or the anxiety or the little thoughts, those petty thoughts that deny the space for the greater impression of God to have its way, that is able to show new ways that are not just sci-fi, but here and now as your very life say yes. Say yes to the healing that is going on in this moment, for the belief system is now expanded. You have been given that ladder to climb to the higher fruit that has always been there. And I know in this greater realization comes a life that is exciting, dynamic relationships that are intimate and wonderful, businesses that are expanding, an affluent flow of an abundant cash stream into our life, the ability to share and care and give at the level in which our heart desires, the ability to feel life is fulfilling, that you're making a difference, and that your body is a vehicle, is the temple of God that is healthy and knows how to heal itself when it is out of balance. It comes back into perfect weight, to perfect operation, with a sense of gratitude for being here at a time such as this. Grateful to know the words we share, that they are the truth, that they continue to manifest and multiply and to expand, that every prayer in our prayer request chest is answered now, that the love of God moves in our hearts for anyone near and dear in our world that could use just a little extra God realization. The Spirit, all things are possible. I need not direct it, but what I need to be is receptive. It's not my will, but thy will. So I let go. I trust. I surrender. I believe with a sense of gratitude, with a sense of appreciation for the good that is going on. For this spiritual community is growing, it is thriving, it is expanding. Our youth program is reaching new levels, and our Sunday attendance is large. The intimacy is deepening because there's so much more that we can connect with as we continue to say yes to the vision before us. So I let go with an unshakable belief and conviction in the divine right action of Spirit that is here and now, expressing at our personal, individual level. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Seaside, sing it from your heart. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah.
And our affirmation for the week is, I am divinely guided in expressing Spirit. Together, I am divinely guided in expressing Spirit. Touch your heart and say that again. I am divinely guided in expressing Spirit. One more time. I am divinely guided in expressing Spirit. And our song of grace.
I'm living my life for what I believe, through joys and through fears. In this world I walk, God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. As one family, we honor all truth. As together we walk, God's grace moves through me, and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living.
Please come on, receive a prayer. Come to one of our spiritual practitioners. They are here to pray with you.